It does not seem possible that we're at the end of the year, but we're at the end of the year. This is our last show. That's our last show. Erin, what are we going to do? I mean, how are we going to survive? Are we going to survive this? I don't know if we're going to survive this year.
It's going to be tough.
Because it's been so good this year.
It has been.
To take away all of the sprint car racing from us is like torture.
Well, the best part is Lincoln's running in a little while.
Well, that's true. Yes, we have BAPS this weekend. And Lincoln, the countdown is on.
The off-season is pretty short.
Yeah, the icebreaker won't be too far off. There you go. See that? It is. What a great sprint car season. It is the off-season. And we have got a tradition here at Wing Nation. We're going to continue. She's Erin Evernham. I'm Steve Post. This is Wing Nation, presented by Dryden and DRF Racing Oils. And I don't even know how we started on this. Years and years ago, Kendra was my co-host, but we invited Brian Carter, the CEO of the World Racing Group, to come over and kind of wrap up the season. He has such a good insight, not only into World of Outlaws, but overall sprint car racing.
Absolutely.
So that's what we're going to do. We're going to talk to the boss man over at the World Racing Group.
Get all the info.
Get all the info, all the details.
All the data.
All the data. Yes, he is a numbers guy.
He comes in with a stack and I love it.
Yes, he does. And she gets all, she's always, and then she's reaching over. She's like,
I think last year he left them for me.
Yeah.
Man, I need to see if he can do that again.
Yeah, there we go. So, that's what's happening. Brian Carter joins us. Of course, he does the World of Outlaws, the World of Outlaw Morton Building Late Models, the Super Dirt Car Series, and so much more. Mm-hmm. It was the World of Outlaw NOS Energy Drink Sprint Cars. The World Finals on Friday night. David Gravel and Brian Brown mixing it up after a late race restart. Here's Johnny Gibson with the call on Dirt Vision.
And now for the Dryden death-defying move of the week, where one driver simply amazes us with their on-track moves.
Green flag waves. David Gravel, Brian Brown battling for the lead. Browning to the inside. Gravel turns it back underneath him.
That death-defying move was brought to you by Dryden Diesel All Death, the official death of the World of Outlaws and wheelmen everywhere. Visit Dryden.com for more information.
For decades, Dryden Lubricants has been made in America and made to last, paving the way on our highways, in our fields, and on the production line. Today, Dryden offers a complete line of engine oils, greases, hydraulic and transmission fluids, and diesel exhaust fluid. If you want greater performance and protection for your critical engines and equipment, go to Dryden.com. Dryden, American-owned and operated, and a proud supporter of racing and race fans everywhere. Citywide to countryside, whatever you drive, wherever you go, Hercules has the value, selection, and industry-leading warranty to get you there, no matter where the road takes you. Go to HerculesTires.com. There you can find the nearest authorized Hercules retail location to you. Plus, you can use the tire tracker to find out which Hercules tire fits your vehicle the best. That's HerculesTires.com. Hercules Tires. Ride on our strength. Welcome back. It is Wing Nation, presented by Dryden and DRF Racing Oils. As we mentioned, joining us is the CEO of the World Racing Group, Brian Carter, for our annual visit. Hello, Brian. How are you?
Hey, guys. I'm great. I'm a little bit tired, but, that's what happens on Tuesday after 2 massive weekends of racing here in Charlotte.
My gosh, 2 massive weekends of racing in Charlotte and a massive year as well. What a great season for the World of Outlaw NOS Energy Drink Sprint.
Yeah, it was a spectacular season. When you coming off of last year, you didn't really know what to expect, and you come right into kind of forgot this is the season we started with weather, and we went and did a redo in Florida and missed California early, and we still ended up racing over 80 nights for the first time in almost 5 years. So it's kind of we figured out how to improvise pretty well and flex when we needed to, and it actually worked out pretty well. So it's the first time in 5 years we completed 80 shows. Mother Nature actually once we got rolling, I kind of we'll black out the early part of the season, but we got rolling. It was spectacular, and record crowds all year long. Highest tickets sold ever for the World of Outlaws is pretty spectacular.
Wow. Brian, coming off a year that we all had to deal with a worldwide pandemic, and World of Outlaws were kind of first and foremost in getting back to the track and getting the racers going. But talk about it seems like this year we came back so much stronger, even though you went through that dip.
Yeah, no, what we were after last year is introducing sprint car racing to the fans that couldn't come out. So we were in an awareness campaign. So actually during the pandemic, we doubled down on all of our advertising for the World of Outlaws brand, not tied to an event. So 2021 was a chance for a lot of first impressions, people coming to the racetrack for the first time. So the investments we made in the advertising to create the awareness in 2020, when there really wasn't any other sports going on until really late part of the summer. So we actually had the whole platform, people paying attention. So it was great. But we knew 21 was going to be the chance to bring new fans to the racetrack. And I think we did a damn good job of entertaining them. We had them video boards of fan engagement. We had one of the most spectacular years of racing. The points race was settled out, but you think about it, we had, I think the numbers ended up settling out that we had 5 guys led over 200 laps. It was 6 drivers, 200 laps. The first time in the last 15 years, we had 6 drivers lead over 200 laps at racing. And so that means the parity in the field, the entertainment value, all those pieces, people coming deep from the field. It's spectacular right now.
Cool stuff, that's for sure. The overall sprint car stuff, this is always Erin's favorite part about it. The overall sprint car racing, you always lay some numbers on it. She's the engineer here.
All those data
overall, sprint car racing, 410 sprint car racing, how did it compare to other seasons?
Yeah, we keep it a track on that because the long-term growth of the sport starts at the weekly tracks and your development program. So we've been investing in that for a long time, and even some of the pieces now we're investing down the street at Millbridge and trying to get some awareness and exposure for the youngsters in the class. But data supports it now too. And when you look back at the total number of unique 410 drivers in the country back in 17 and 18, it averaged about 750. When you look at 19 and 20, it dipped down a little bit. And then 20 was just an odd year. We're not even going to skip that data. But we had 868 different drivers take a green flag in a 410 feature this year across the country, which tells me when you talk about an extra 100 new drivers, that's spectacular. In my mind, that means that, the long-term growth, the excitement about sprint car racing, not only when the World of Outlaws is there, but for 410 sprint car racing across the country is in a resurgence that is actually measurable and we can react to and build upon. So that's pretty exciting in my mind. When the data supports it, we're feeling it along the way, but as the year was building, we didn't know what the long-term effect of COVID was, the supply chain pieces, but a lot of people, may not be racing every week. There's a lot of guys giving it a whirl and racing once or twice when the schedule allows. It's pretty exciting.
When you have a base of 750 and you add 100.
That's a big percentage.
That's a big percentage growth. Oh my gosh, that's phenomenal. Yeah. That is really cool.
Yeah, no, it is really cool to see that and to see the parity in what's happening at the upper levels, the exposure. Obviously, we have a lot of people that are paying attention to sprint car racing for all the things that Casey and Tony have done along the way with Ricky's teams and then with Kyle and Chris and all those guys. It's really, it's cool to be a sprint car driver right now. And we see a lot of the development. When you look at what's happening for next year, this is a statistic, and I'm blessed. I've always had Gibson and with Greeny and Brian Walker and these guys. These guys. You think I'm a data guy? These guys are all over the statistics.
You've surrounded yourself with computers.
I've got these guys, but we have half of the full-time drivers for 2022 will be in their 20s and have already got their first outlaw win. Half of the full-time drivers will be in their 20s. That means that oh
my God, yeah,
the future for sprint car racing is pretty damn bright.
That's impressive. I was thinking that the other day when I was out at the World Finals. I was like, wait a second, a lot of the full-time drivers I ran with are no longer. Schatz is about Insides isn't even totally full-time, I guess, right now. But it's amazing, and I know we all give Kyle Larson some credit because of how he's exposed sprint car racing and he can get in anything and win. But how neat is it to see someone like Chase Elliott, who grew up in total stock car world, NASCAR champion, and now is going to give a shot at sprint car racing this month.
And what it confirms for all of us that know it is that being able to handle a sprint car with this much horsepower in these racetracks and the changing environment, it trains drivers. And we've known it as you've seen the dirt car guys evolve through the NASCAR ranks. But it is recognized now that the sprint car, anytime you can get in a car like this, it contributes to the skill set of the driver. And they need a full-rounded skill set, especially if they're going to beat Kyle these days. So, to see that happening, it's exciting. The Alex Bowman, these guys racing down the street in the smaller cars, and it's exciting. But we've always known it. If you can drive one of these beasts, you can drive just about anything, and that's been confirmed. So it's exciting to see that exchange of race fans, the exchange of engagement, the exchange, even the teams and the guys who really influence all of motorsports, recognizing the contribution that sprint car racing makes to each of these guys' skill set. That's important to me.
The NASCAR garage, knowing that I do Wing Nation, there's not a weekend goes by they don't what's going on in the sprint car world, or did you see that? Did you see that, or what's going on in the sprint car world? I don't believe any of us in our wildest imaginations would ever believe the phrase Knoxville Nationals champion, Kings Royal champion, Cup Series champion. I don't know that we ever would have put the same guy in that category over the course of time, let alone the same year. What Kyle Larson has done is absolutely amazing on the track and then off the track as well.
No, that's true. But I liked, did you see that?
Did you see that? Because
they all seen it. So that's the beauty of it.
Right,
did you see that?
Yeah.
So the engagement, the social activity, but you're right. We're witnessing history here. I still have, the world's greatest sprint car fan has always been defined are the sprint car drivers is being defined with what Steve and Sammy and those guys did as Donnie carried the torch, and now Brad's, as it's Donnie referring to him as the older statesman in our banquet. Yeah. But yeah, we're witnessing history with Kyle, and to see that happen, I was blessed to see his first win at Chico a long time ago in the World of Outlaw sprint cars, and he's good for the sport, and we supported him back when he had a little, when he had some adversity last year, and sure. I appreciate all he's done for raising the awareness and all that, and we're witnessing history. So, but it's important for me now to figure out how do we create those guys, the awareness of the fans coming in, and how do we entertain them and show them, the world of outlaws and sprint car racing. With or without Kyle, it's a spectacular show.
I think the first time we did one of these, our discussion is, what's this going to look like? Erin, it was probably Kendra and I, when we first did this with Brian, our discussion was, what are we going to do after Steve and Sammy retire?
I know.
You think about that was conversation. We probably asked you that, and you had confidence that this was going to work out. But my gosh, it's amazing the turn, the way things have gone.
It really has. Sure. Well, and another key to exposure, obviously, is what you guys have done with Dirt Vision. I remember the early days when it was called Dirt Vision, but it was still only audio. And to see what it's become, and then to have that, certainly during the pandemic, when you couldn't have fans in the stands. Talk about the growth of Dirt Vision, and what are some of the, I don't need exact numbers. What are some of the viewership numbers on a given night? Well,
it's been an amazing journey for all of us. We bought Dirt Vision as part of the Dirt Motorsports acquisition back in 2004. Mm-hmm. So we've been nurturing it along the way, really waiting for the technology. The concepts were there, but the technology and the delivery very inconsistent, and our fans are very intolerant of anything other than it's working. And we wanted to deliver absolutely that product. That's why we've done some major investments in our platforms, in our satellite trucks, and the Vimeo platform that we launched in August this year. And the reliability of it is substantially better than it ever. But the size and magnitude has too. So the viewership it's pretty much been doubling the last year over year. So it's really nice to see that, not only just not necessarily the subscriptions, but the vault piece and the free content. The fans can watch this. They can go back right now, sign up for Dirt Vision, and watch the entire season for free. And that's what we're trying to do, because it's always been approached as an awareness campaign. Bring people to the racetrack, because I want to be compelling on Dirt Vision, but I want to drive the fans. The fans and the racetrack in the facility deserve the best show. And that's what we've been doing with Dirt Vision, creating awareness, creating the social content, driving people to the racetrack. That's why we invested in the video boards and the full-time pit reporting, the full-time drone operators, Hannah, hostess, all those pieces, so that the fans felt something different when they came to the racetrack. And we've been building that over 21 and from 20 to 21. And that's where we'll continue to grow that fan experience at the racetrack, so that not only do they feel like they're seeing something special, but they're part of it. And that's an important part. The experiential treatment now for our fans is where it's all going to. And Dirt Vision is just an awareness campaign to get us there. And if you can't get there, we know you can't travel, and come and join us and enjoy the show.
The Dirt Vision, we look at the World of Outlaw NOS Energy Drink Sprint Cars, World of Outlaw Morton Buildings, late models, and the Super Dirt Car Series. Those are the big three touring series. But how important is it with Attica, Williams Grove, Jacksonville, Millbridge, which that's been my favorite ad, e-racing, Australian racing, all off-season Australian racing. You have the Dryden Extreme Dirt Car Series come up. How important are all of those to the puzzle of the big three touring series?
Well, it's an important part of the puzzle, the constant engagement, the content pieces, but we want to show off what's happening at all these tracks around the country every week, even when we're not there. We can only be the big show at 93 nights out of the year, which means there's a lot of racing that's happening. So our priority for that was to pick a strong racetrack that has a great program that entertains race fans on a weekly basis, and help them make it better and bigger and show them off to the rest of the world, and then to fill in the content. So when you look at, we very strategically picked tracks that we knew had a great program, great racing, and then would support that premium content for Dirt Vision. We could go grab 25 or 30 more tracks, but I don't want to clutter that. I want to make sure that we have the best content, and we're showing off tracks that are important to us in particular regions that are supporting sprint car racing in the area and growing that extra 100. I think it really comes when you talk about Williams Grove, Knoxville, Attica. We add in Jacksonville. We're going to add Volusia to it next year. We're going to pick up a track in the Northeast, start showing off the big blocks. It's a progression to show off how we do this every week, and then to show those tracks off and create travelers for not only just the World of Outlaws, but for those tracks too. And right now it's working.
Yeah, it certainly is. You talk about the at-track fan experience. When I walked the Midway, even here at the World Finals, just to see how much it's grown since you started the event, and it was 2007, I believe, it's incredible. It's neat, the video screen you bring, but then the hospitality tents all along the backstretch. It's really turned into an all-day event, and people enjoy that hospitality, and it's neat to see our sport provide that.
Yeah, no, it's people are escaping. They want to come to us and enjoy themselves and looking for joy and happiness, and you try to provide that to them. So it starts when they drive into town and they see the things that look like something's happening. They feel like something bigger than, larger than life, that experience. And it happens with the shows that we do on stage in front, the fan engagement. They just want to feel part of something bigger. And the more we can do that, the better it will be. So we felt like we do that really well at the big events. Knoxville does an incredible job. The Kings Royal, what's going to happen at Jackson and Houston's next year. With all of the pieces, Williams Grove's got an incredible electric environment, World Finals, Dark Carnage. It's just, they all have their own personality, but fans want to be part of that. They want to feel like it. They want to be close to the race cars. They want to get to know the guys. They want to get to know the personalities. And the more you can do that, the more engaged they are. And people want more than that. The racing is great, but it's not just about the racing. It's about the racing community. And if you can create a place that's fun for everybody, I'm happy, really happy.
I talked to Marcus Smith, the of Speedway Motorsports, a couple of years ago. He was building that big screen TV on the NASCAR track. He was building that, and I said, "Why? What?" He said, "Look, people have got to choose between sitting at home with their own beverages, their own bathroom, and all the stats and replays and everything like that, or come to the racetrack. We have to compete with what they're used to when they're at home." Was that part of the impetus to getting the big screen, the Dirt Vision screen, so we can see replays, so we can, the driver pieces? I sat in Houston at the driver pieces with, what was your first date car, or this sort of thing and that sort of thing. That's part of the reason, the rationale to take the big screen to all the racetracks. Yeah,
no, I don't want to fall into the trap of having a more compelling product at the house. We want to have the compelling product at the Speedway. And what we started to see is, I'm watching most of the shows when I can't travel. I'm seeing that, man, that drone shot's cool. Why aren't we showing it at the grandstands? That work area shot is cool. Mm-hmm. The storylines are cool, but how do we expose more of that? Because when you're sitting you get to see the race cars more than any other form of motorsports. Walk through the pit area if you choose to beforehand, get to know the drivers, but you're not hearing everything that's happening as the night develops. Yeah. And if you can bring that into the grandstand too, so the screen just facilitates that. Johnny can only say so much, but you add in the color from Chase or from Ruben on the late models, or Hannah now, and then Hannah Rickards, and you start to see what's happening. You can paint that picture. It's just a little more compelling now. You feel more part of it than just watching the racing. And the big screens, just a facilitator to that. And it's been an amazing investment. I'll never see the return on it other than I've got great race fans, and we can keep selling tickets. And if we keep doing that, then I'm a happy man.
Then you've got
yeah. You mentioned the accessibility of the drivers. There's just something special about the World of Outlaws and mostly all dirt racing. We talked, I tell a story this year at Knoxville. Ray and I were just walking down the street, and Kyle Larson's riding his bike, and he's looking for lunch. And some people obviously recognize him, and he's friendly and hello and signing autographs. But it's something you don't find at other forms of motorsport. And I think that's a huge selling point to NASCAR. When you look even after this championship, all these people are posting their pictures with Kyle, and where are they? They're at a sprint car race.
Track. They're at a sprint car race.
Yeah, no, when you look at what's the history of motorsports, the connectivity to the drivers, what drew them in, and all cycles. You see the cycles. F1's done a great job of it with the Netflix pieces and drawing fans to a driver, creating a personal connection. That personal connection is most of what all we want as people, and we want to have that personal connection. And we will have an open pit area. We'll have it to where the drivers can interact, the fans can interact, they can see what's happening, and then maybe they'll create that personal connection that keeps them coming to the racetrack, at least following it. Watching it on Twitter, and then that personal connection is what we're all looking for, and we have been blessed with. That's the way it was done. my 19 years now with it, or 18 seasons, and it will be that way as long as I can make that happen. And that personal connection with the race cars and the drivers and fans, and that piece is something special.
One of the underlying stories we've talked about a lot on Wing Nation is the state of California. Back in the day, California was, it was the sprint car, not the, because you had Knoxville and Pennsylvania, but it was in the same level with that. And then we ran into a period, for whatever reason, it fell off as far as 410 racing goes. We've talked a lot to Dominic Selze, we've talked to Peter Murphy, we've talked to Brent Kading about it. California just seems to me to be one of those regions that, as you look to the present and look to the future, it seems to me to be a very rich area for sprint car racing, with a solid base out there for your guys to go tangle with a couple times a year.
Yeah, no, we've missed our California friends in the spring the last couple of years. I'm really looking forward to going back there. That part's critical to it. I think what you're going to see, and I'm inside on a couple of different pieces where the change in ownership at Skagit's going to have some resurgence in the north. There are going to be some changes in Northern California. The promoter base, that's going to be some resurgence there. That's going to be good, and we just need to get back there and refire the fans up in the spring and get back there. The racing heritage, but real estate in California killed a couple of racetracks, Manzanita, and there's some places there that just make it hard to race, and we want to fight back.
Yeah,
and we just haven't had a chance the last couple of years, more than once a year. Actually, the first we went back in the fall was just barely. So I'm looking forward to going back there in the spring and trying to reestablish. I think the California fans are in for a great show. But yeah, we've got to get that back. I look at it. I have columns here too. Regionally, the Western version of this, it's pretty tough over there on the Western side. They were fighting a lot of dynamics that we had no control over, really couldn't affect. So kind of pick our fights. That was a tough one, So we'll hopefully get back in there and put on the gloves with our local California friends and put on some sprint car racing.
I'm sure you will. Sure.
When you look at all the regions throughout the United States and you have your statistics, how important is it for you to stay involved with what's going on in all sorts of sprint car series? Because when you come to town, you need the competition level, you need the fan base to already kind of to be there, right?
Absolutely. I've said it from the very beginning that the hierarchy, the ground level sprint car racing needs to be strong. So the weekly programs, the strong regional programs, it's not, we need the All-Stars to be healthy. We need IRA to be healthy. We need MOA. We need different pieces in how that takes shape. We need them to be healthy and strong. And I can bet you their numbers are just as good as ours are this year. They, that I need them to be stout. I need the racetracks to have successful programs. You can only take their weekly programs and multiply it by X. And I don't know, X changes or moves around. It's my job to make X as big as it can be. But if they don't have a sprint car base or sprint cars in the community, it's tough for us to go in there and just have a show. I have no intentions of ever bringing the field of cars there. I want to bring 10 or 15 of the best in the world and have them spar them against the locals. And that's been the concept and will remain the concept for the world of outlaws.
Exciting stuff for sure. And speaking of exciting, you guys just released last week the 2022 schedule. Over 80 dates, 22 states, February to November. First and foremost, $1 million point fund, $200,000 to the champion. It's nice to hit those benchmarks, but that's a pretty round number, a pretty neat number for you guys to be able to offer. Sounds like probably entice some sprint car drivers to go out and race pretty hard next year.
Yeah, no, it's a big number. Every spot got at least 33%, and a couple of them got 66%. We actually pushed the point fund down. So in my mind, I'm looking at, what does it do? What does it take for the teams to get in? You're not going to come in and run top 5 in the first year.
Yeah.
You're just not going to. Yeah. So then what does it look like when you pay 10th? So we actually bumped up 10th from 30th to 50,000. So if you finish 10th in the World of Outlaws Point Fund, you're going to get $50,000. And to my mind, that's meaningful enough to maybe get one of the next step programs to come in and say, okay, at the end of the year, we're going to have something left over. At least they're going to hand us a check in November for 50. But really wanted to make sure that was equitable through the field. So trying to encourage that solid field of cars. Like I said, when you look at the youngsters coming, the teams developing, it's pretty exciting, and it's time to reward the guys that are loyal to us with the resources we're creating.
Brian, as the CEO of the company, how difficult is it to make that decision, or to know that you have the value in your company that you can give this purse fund? I'm sure from your point of view, the teams, that they deserve it, you want to disperse it, but it's got to be, as a business person, a little bit of a tough decision to make.
Yeah, my entire objective, my purpose is to figure out how to create a sustainable model that it's inevitable at some point you'll be interviewing somebody else. Mm-hmm. So my purpose is to create a sustainable operation that is driven by entertaining race fans, having great partnerships with racetracks, and balancing that out with creating an environment that the racers want to come and compete and create a positive business environment and racing community for these businesses that want to come and travel with us. And if we do that, then it will sustain way beyond whoever's sitting in this seat. And that piece is important to me. And it's a balancing act. It is absolutely a balancing act. You have to take some from here, some years, and some from there. But in the end, it's time. We're creating resources at the racetrack that are great, sponsorship resources that are good right now. And now with Dirt Vision and the resources from the streaming, we're going to start sharing it with the people that are good to us and create a positive look on the future of sprint cars.
When I look a little deeper into the schedule next year, you've added Bakersfield, Vado, returning to Atomic, Tri-Cities returning there. If the calendar didn't have 52 weeks, I mean, and I know that's not a realistic, even hypothetical, I can't imagine how many racetracks you could go, because when we get the dates announced, it's like, oh, I wish they were coming here, and I wish they were coming here, and they could do it. How challenging is that to keep places, to mix places up, to in and out? How challenging is that?
Well, I'm blessed. I've got Carlton and Casey and Sam and Dean. Those guys are doing this for me. But I get involved. I get involved quite a bit too. But it's the balancing act of that is extraordinary, because you got a lot of racetracks that want them, a lot of racetracks that aren't quite there yet getting one, and that we can't just go race at every place. It tests everything: the infrastructure, the parking, ingress, egress, the concessions. You can't just have one beer booth and expect to have a good night because you're going to piss off your fans when they're waiting in line and can't get a beer, can't get food, and then you got to get in and out. Your lighting good. It's a tough balance. It is, and then you throw in the things that happen on a normal basis. Something's going to break. But the calendar is one of the most challenging pieces, and the fans. We want to try to do the best for the fans. Telling them that you're going to be here one year and not the next, and then maybe we'll come back. That's a hard thing, and it upsets the people that you want to be the happiest, the race fans. But the calendar is easy to come together when you have 25 or 30 racetracks on the waiting list. I mean, there's a long list of people that want races, and we're blessed that way. But unfortunately, you're going to have to tell some people no, and you're going to have to balance that out with the race fans and the schedule and the needs. We were fortunate being able to see, okay, we're not going to California, and Mother Nature kicked our tail early in the season. Let's start over in Florida. Let's go back and regroup and start again. And it ended up being spectacular.
Yeah.
But now I've got racetracks in Florida that want us back in March. It's like, I can't come back. So you can't go back to East Bay and do some of the things that we showed how cool it could be to race the Outlaws during Bike Week. That was pretty cool too.
Yeah.
But a different crowd, different group, and we disappointed those people. And I feel bad about that. But we've got to get back to California and get back to business over there. So Carlton and Casey and Dean and Sam, those guys, the series directors, do an incredible job. We're promoting a lot of these shows. So Jeff and his team, it's a tough deal to balance. But I can tell you, looking at this schedule, I'm pretty excited about this. Travel's good. You've got everything in line. You got some big paying races, kind of doing some things in the right order.
Yeah.
You're going to tag into a new event for the late models next, what we're doing in St. Louis, NASCAR's doing. And then we're back at Peavey a couple times. Cool. So it's pretty exciting to kind of see it all come together, especially a month early. Usually we don't do this till PRI. Now we've got a whole extra month and of planning and excitement and questions and all the other things.
Yeah. Two of the elements, we were involved with both of them this year. The Jackson National, what Todd Quering has done in the upper Midwest is just phenomenal. I mean, it's just incredible. And the Jackson Nationals over the last few years has grown back into a special race. I guess I didn't realize historically it was held after the Knoxville Nationals. Yeah. And so it's back to that. But then to add Huset's back into the mix and them with a big weekend of their own, that is just what a dynamic, what a great ad that's had to have been for you guys.
Yeah, no, it's great. I heard the guys say it yesterday in the banquet. Sprint car racing needs a few more Todd Querings. Sure. He's a character and a handful, and I love him to death. But but what he's doing at Huset's and Jackson is spectacular, and what he's done for his teams all over the course is couldn't argue with him. He cares a lot about sprint car racing, has devoted a lot of time and energy and resources to it, and But what he's doing at Jackson and Houston is rebuilding those, increasing the purses, really trying to establish it. Todd and I've talked about, let's get those dates settled down and let's start building on them. And he is 100% in, and he's all in. It's so fun to see that. But to see that kind of investment back into Houston, to have control of that property that's had such a history and legacy, rebuilding the Jackson Nationals. I remember my first visit to Jackson, the lights went out in the middle of the feature. It was so where Jackson is now from where it is spectacular. But the exciting thing for me, is that kind of investment it is extraordinary what Todd's done, but there's a lot more of that happening. Mm-hmm. What Kathy's doing with some of the safety pieces at Williams Grove, I see some exciting things happen there. I can't share yet, but it's going to happen at Williams Grove. Nice. With what Kings Royal and Eldora, that facility is spectacular. Knoxville continues to add to their program and the entertainment value of that. So, but there's a lot more of that happening. I'd pat myself on the back for Volusia's kind of stepping up the program a little bit, but those things are across the board, and people are excited about doing that to provide the home for all these great fans and a great place for guys to come and race all year long. And that's exciting. Skagit, all new, doing some things there.
That's
awesome. And I know that Schrader's putting in some new grandstands at Peavey because we keep pushing the limit on that piece. The SLS, Scott Boyd, what he's done at Beaver Dam, and there's just a lot of that happening. And to see that kind of investment means that everybody else is excited about the future as I am. Yeah. That's pretty exciting.
And Brian, you talk about the other promoters and track owners and all that they're doing, and we've talked a lot about what you guys are doing, but the teams themselves, you've got some really strong teams, some owners, and I look through the field of your platinum drivers. I mean, it's as competitive and as well-funded as I've ever seen it.
Yeah, no, it's these guys put on a hell of a show. When you look at what happened this year, Sweet, the only joining Schatz and Kinzer as the only three drivers to ever win 3 straight. I mean, so we're watching history again. We got to see Steve, and I got to see Donnie, and now we're seeing Brad establish himself. But those guys are fighting. Gravel's close. Sheldon and what they're doing with not only bringing in having Clausen Marshall and bringing Lauren in, which is extraordinary for the sport. What Noss is doing as a partner, like I said that at the banquet, she's a perfect partner. Noss is the perfect partner. They get it. They want to understand. They create the awareness. They're excited about it. They share it with everybody they know. And that's all we can ask for as a partner and a promotion friend, and candidly, a friend of the family as a outlaw. But now you got Tim Clausen and you got Sunshine showing up, and you got now. So yes, it is. They're, I don't know, 2nd through 10th. I really don't. And Brad's going to have his hands full, and he's had his hands full this year. So it's exciting to see that. But the parity amongst the teams. And they're all doing a little something different. What's kind of interesting, they're not all buying the same parts. They're not all buying the same chassis. There's a lot of development that's happening within the rule book, which hasn't changed in a decade, but there's a lot of stuff happening that's going to make it really exciting for next.
Big picture, how important is it though that rule book hasn't changed greatly? I mean, I know there's safety tweaks and stuff with the Sprint Car Council and that sort of thing, but how important is that to the growth as you guys have seen this?
It's the foundation we've been building on, candidly. I wish I could get my hands around a couple of other pieces. I can't have as much of a effect on the late model rule book because we're swimming into a couple of different programs, but we may start changing our approach on that too. I'm just going to have to make some changes I think are important to the long-term viability of some of those other forms of racing. But sprint cars we're talking about today, that rule book hasn't changed other than for some safety pieces and the other end. And that piece has been, it's a foundation on which we're building. And I think it provides a lot of stability to everything that's happening. It allows the secondary markets and all the other pieces, and that allows the growth at the foundation weekly regional program, and they can feel like they can come and compete.
I think the simplicity of the rule book just goes, it shows what sprint cars are. There's not much to them. There's not much that, I mean, obviously there's things that people are tweaking and working on every day, but they're just such basic race cars. And I think that's what makes the product so awesome.
Yeah, no, it's raw. I've told anybody I've ever tried to describe, there's nothing on the car that doesn't keep the driver safe or make it go fast. That's it.
Yeah, exactly.
Those are the only two. If it's on there, it's got a purpose. It's got a purpose. It's going to make the car go faster or keep the driver safe. Period. Drive shafts between your legs. Go fast. Stop. That's it. And that piece is pretty spectacular. It's a very complex machine, but a very simple machine, and it's so much fun to see it and to watch it. And candidly, to watch it develop inside of the box, we kept it in for a long time, and that's been important to the growth.
Important to the growth, and just so important that all of the regions are all on track. It's you guys as the sanctioning body that oversees everything, but if Knoxville decided to go in a different direction, or Williams Grove decided, I think that's important, that collaboration. If the All-Stars decided to go in a different direction, I think that collaboration, it's got to be painful at times. I am sure that I've stood outside some of those meetings in Knoxville and had promoters come out and say, I can't believe what we're doing. But to keep everyone on board is where we're at, and that's the reason for the growth.
Yeah, when you look at it, it really comes down to the collaboration of the sport as a whole.
The sport,
yeah. So when we looked at it, we want to have a positive influence. Tony wants to have a positive influence. Knoxville wants to have a positive. Everybody wants to have a positive influence, and the collaboration that's happened over the last decade is a significant contributor to the success of the sport. I'm blessed to be able to have the resources to try to make it the awareness campaign. I'm leading the awareness campaign. But the sport as a whole, when you look at the promoters, the promoter meetings, the sprint car summits, the councils, all those pieces, is a very collaborative effort. And you can't get to where we are as a sport today without that collaborative effort. And that I give a lot of credit to everyone involved. Our partnership with Knoxville, I mentioned them all already.
Yeah, sure.
With Tony and Steve and the IRA and all those pieces are part of a bigger pie that we are all making bigger, and that's exciting. I'm blessed to be able to just sit here and participate and watch it and get guide it a little bit, and again create the awareness, because sprint cars are awesome.
Yeah, they are. Yeah,
they really
truly are. And I don't care if you can announce a schedule and keep Pennsylvania fans happy with another Port Royal date. Oh my gosh, that was pretty cool as well. Pretty cool stuff. Is there anything we missed here in our state of the sport?
Yeah,
any other fun stuff or things you want to lay on us here?
No, my guys did a whole page for you. We covered off on most of them. First time we've competed at 80 races, sold more tickets than ever. The 6 drivers leading 200 laps. We had 3 races paying over 175, a couple of paying over 100, $1 million point fund, sweet joining. I mean, the margin of victory is the smallest been in years.
Okay, yeah.
That's this is my statistical guys. Yeah. We had 337 guys take a green flag at World of Outlaws shows. I told you about the 868.
Yeah.
The big screens. I don't want to get too much into it, but the pieces that excite me, the 2022 roster is going to be half in their 20s. That's going to be spectacular. The historical big one coming back. Husitz and Jackson coming back. Williams Grove stepping up their first some too, haven't announced that. Bristol with no COVID restrictions. Come see us in April. We're going to have a big party. The World of Outlaws, both of them on the same weekend. We want to fill the joint up. Everything's at worldofoutlaws.com. Come in. If I couldn't possibly cover it all, come see us on the worldofoutlaws.com. Or if you want to watch the racing, sign into Dirt Vision on the vault. You can watch it all.
All right. Finally, you know me, I'm a modified guy. Did you say a weekly modified track in the Northeast on Dirt Vision?
Yes, sir. We get to hear the modifieds, big blocks coming at you weekly.
Oh, now you're just showing off. Now you're just bragging.
We're just bragging.
Now you're just bragging.
It's a sprint car show.
I know, but man, I am telling you, Dirt Vision, when the modifieds came back to Dirt Vision, that was the... I've got the Super Dirt Car Series, because that's what I grew up on. I've got that schedule on my refrigerator. So I know, like on a Tuesday night, if there's a Tuesday night, I'm like, man, I know what I'm doing tonight. Pop some popcorn and watch some modifieds. That is great.
For all you sprint car fans haven't seen a modified without the body on it. They just wear the wing down a little lower. It looks just like a big sprint car. It truly does. And they drive a lot. I had a chance to drive one. They drive a lot like a big old pushy sprint car. So, but yeah, they're going to join the modifieds. Have joined us this year. And we're trying to get us a weekly track. We've got a couple of things in the works there, so we can start to show the fan base, and they can start traveling to the Northeast and see how beautiful upstate New York is in the summertime and watch some modified racing.
No doubt about that. That's good. Brian, we always appreciate the time. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you guys for spreading the word.
There you go. The CEO of the World Racing Group, Brian Carter, joining us here on Wing Nation. Over the years, Dryden has stood for uncompromised value and proven performance. Known as the hardest working brand in heavy-duty lubrication, Dryden's heritage is made in America and made to last. Dryden products work to increase the life and enhance the efficiency of your equipment in the toughest conditions. Learn more about Dryden's products at Dryden.com. From grassroots racing to NASCAR, Dryden is a proud supporter of racing everywhere. For a year-round high-quality eating experience, look no further than Sage Fruit apples, pears, and cherries. Not only is their produce healthy, but they are grown with such care and precision that you can count on each piece of fruit having exceptional flavor. Sage Fruit, it's our first choice for quick and easy snacking. Always great to pick the brain of Brian Carter. He's a fascinating guy and just has such a passion for this thing, and it's really cool and a lot of exciting stuff for sure.
Yeah, certainly a lot of exciting stuff, but it's really neat to always catch up with him because we always talk to drivers, and when we're at the track, we get a chance to talk to owners and fans and whatever, but to get the chance to talk to the CEO of the World Racing Group, who is really, I mean, the World of Outlaws are the peak of sprint cars, so it's neat to get his perspective on all things, you know, from the fan experience to dirt vision. I just like to pick his brain. It's info that we can't just get every day. We don't,
and I see him throughout the year at the racetrack, but he's at the racetrack.
Yeah, I never want to bother him because at the racetrack he's got 9 million things going on.
Yeah, exactly. So, love it. We always appreciate that. We appreciate Brian coming over and spending time with us. This weekend, Baps Motor Speedway, the Capital Renegades Sprint Car Showdown, and that will do it for the 410 season, weather permitting. And by the time this airs, it might have already been shotgunned out of there. So just check your schedule, check with Babs. I love this one, Erin, though. Coming up November 23rd and 24th at Merced. And you mentioned it to Brian Carter. Sprint cars and midgets. Kyle Larson's going to run the sprint cars and midgets. I know. There's no shocker there. Chase Elliott going to make a sprint car debut. How about that?
I love it. I mean, there's the previous NASCAR champion who's never driven a sprint car, has dabbled in a midget here and there recently. But Ray and I were talking about the other day, and Ray's like, well, you know, Kyle's beating him right now, so he's got to get every experience. Yeah. Maybe that's why he's hopping in a sprint car, and I thought, solid point.
So that's coming up November 23rd and 24th. The last two NASCAR Cup Series champions, the reigning and the one from the year before, are racing at Merced.
So if you live anywhere close,
go
watch.
Oh, dear God. I may fly out there to go see it myself. I mean, come on now. That is fun stuff, that's for sure. This is our last program, and we are just so absolutely blessed to be able to do what we do here with Wing Nation, Erin. I know you and Ashley and I, we're kind of the ones, we just get to be knuckleheads and go to sprint car
I think
races.
we're just sprint car fans and are thrilled to have someone to talk about it.
Yeah, exactly.
Someone's actually going to listen to us.
Yeah, someone's going to listen to us. So, but there is a whole team of people that make this possible. Our senior staff here at MRN, and it's when you're in a large company like Motor Racing Network, if senior staff is with you, you've got to roll it along. If they're against you, you're done. Yeah. You're just done. Our senior staff, Chris Schwartz, Frank Beers, and Ryan Horn, are in our camp.
Yep.
And that just makes things so much easier to get things done and to get out to the tracks and to do what we do. So we thank Chris and Frank and Ryan so much. Craig Moore, our producer. We've talked about Craiger for years and years, and Steve Stroud does our production for our television program, but Craiger keeps us on the straight and narrow, so we really
keeps us moving along when we want to keep talking.
Right, exactly. Like now, when we're times when we're like, all right, we need to wrap it up.
Come on, guys, we're running out of time. Could we go? Can we go?
Can we go? That's Craiger that does that. Yeah. So and most of the time
we get off the rails,
and most of the time we do appreciate that. No, we do. We appreciate Craig and Steve Stroud as well. Our partners on this: Sage Fruit, Dryden, Hercules Tires, Lucas Oil ASCS National Tour, Aggressive Hydraulics, Circle B Diecast, Hefner Racing Products, National Sprint Car Hall of Fame. We could not do it with all of our partners. They help keep us going, help keep us rolling. The sprint car drivers, the teams, the tracks, and the series. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. You give us what we talk about. I mean, just thank you.
And the drivers are always willing to come on.
Always come
on.
And
the fans show up.
Exactly. And the fans show up when we do our live shows at Port Royal, at Houston, at Jackson, at Knoxville. Those 4 tracks. Thank you.
World Finals,
again, in the World Finals. Yeah, exactly.
We had a good crowd Friday.
World Finals. Thank you so much. But really, ultimately, more important than that, it's sprint. Just thank you for tuning into Wing Nation. Thank you for tweeting your seat. Thank you for engaging with us on our social media. I go to NASCAR tracks, I go to late model tracks, I go to sprint car tracks, and people say, I watch your program every week. I watch you on Saturday morning on MAV TV. That means the world to us that you would do this because, as Erin just said, we're going to talk about sprint car racing. It's just good to have people
whether someone listens or not.
Whether someone listens or not, we do thank you for listening. We do understand it. And we're going to keep going throughout the course of this season. we've got a series of shows called the Dry Dean Salute to Champions. And we're going to have it all off season on wingnation.com and on our social channel. So we've recorded a bunch of interviews. Some you may have seen on some of our programs. Others you have not seen. And we're just going to roll them out through the course of the off season. So it's going to be fun. It is going to be great. And there you have it. What a year.
Whew.
And all the conversations we've had. What a great year.
It has been.
It's been so much fun.
And like we talked about with Brian, the state of our sport is strong.
State of our sport is
positive, which is great.
Yes, it is. So Wing Nation this weekend, Brad Sweet is our guest. It's the Erin and Ashley talking to Brad Sweet. So you can catch that this weekend on MAV TV. Follow along with us on social. Oh, wait a minute. Before we get out of here, Christmas shopping, www.wingnation.com. Christmas shopping, get it done before Black Friday. Everyone's losing their mind on Black Friday. You're sitting back laughing, saying, I bought him a Wing Nation shirt. I got him a Wing Nation hat. He's good to go. wingnation.com. Follow us all season, off season, on season, Twitter, Facebook, and our YouTube page. Again, we appreciate Brian Carter for spending time with us. We say it every time, and we sincerely mean it every time. More important than all of that, though, thank you for tuning in to Wing Nation, presented by Dry Dean and DRF Racing Oil.